How did Daymark begin? How much time do we have for this interview? Daymark is what's called a spin-off organization or a safety net organization for what used to be community mental health centers in the state of North Carolina. Like many states, North Carolina had community mental health centers for many years. We went through a transformation process or a mental health reform process where mental health centers were privatized that were formerly run by the counties, and the counties became managed care organizations.
Behavioral health was thrust from a mostly government-based system to a privatized competitive market. We saw the trend when we were starting Daymark that electronic records were going to be crucial, and that if we could not get that right, we were not going to be able to successfully compete in the marketplace.
As the private sector came in and took services over, a lot of persons with severe and persistent mental illness, severe substance abuse problems, needing psychiatry, needing emergency services, there were not a lot of resources for those persons. Daymark was birthed to take care of that population. We decided to create a presence in rural counties because of our mission. We wanted better health care for the state of North Carolina, not better health care for Charlotte or Raleigh. We want that too, but there's no reason why you can't have better health care for all the citizens in North Carolina.
We recognized very early on that costs of network connectivity in our rural areas just in itself was unattainable given the revenue streams that we have to provide the service. It simply cannot cost more to provide network connectivity to a location than the monthly rent for that location. And that's what we see in some of these locations.
We are the main provider in many of these counties. We are probably 80% of the behavioral health market in some of our more rural areas. When I think of what I call the A counties, Anson, Allegheny, Ashe County, those are very small counties. And we may be the only psychiatric provider in, an hour's drive. So our services are very important to those counties.
Yes, I was born and raised here.
Okay. And you like living here?
I love it. It's home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mental health is very helpful, and it's essential for a lot of people. I mean, and to be able to open up and ask for that, on top of having to struggle to get there, it's a struggle for people.
A lot of our clients don't have transportation. We have limited transportation in this rural area.
We're a working community, so to take that time out to stop to get here, that's a 30-minute drive for almost anybody in this community, on top of staying an hour or two and then going back. But if you have the communication online, you can choose to be at work, you can choose to be at home.
The part that has surprised me is I think we've been able to reach people that never would have crossed the threshold. It's a small town. They don't want their car to even be seen in the parking lot. And so they may have been encouraged for a long time to get treatment by friends or family and just wouldn't do it. But they're willing to put that toe in the water via technology.
If we have a clinician, for example, certified in a best practice, then someone in Sparta, for example, where we are, who had a credential like that could do a group for people in Winston-Salem or all over our catchment area. So I think the more and more our clinicians got used to it, the more they really value that, and our clients give us that feedback as well.
Most people will say, I have a lot of anxiety about joining a group. I don't get out much, I have social anxiety, and I'm like, what a blessing to live in this time then, because you can join a group from the comfort of your own home with your computer or your phone. If you get really nervous, turn your camera off. You can mute your microphone, and so it's like, I think for someone who has social anxiety, there's never been a better time to start group therapy.
We've gotten really good at Zoom and Doxy and, both counselors and psychiatrists and clients alike. We've all become really well versed in that. For psychiatrists and for other specialists, we absolutely would not have those resources if we couldn't connect electronically, you know.
Broadband is paramount to the way we do business. It's how we connect with the clients, and particularly since COVID, it's how we conduct business in terms of our meetings, it's how we staff cases, it's how we access the record, and it's really our backbone at this point.
Once we have a vacancy, it takes a bit to get somebody back in. And then again, telehealth helps with that, because what it means is that while we have a vacancy, we have other centers who can come in and say, okay, just let your clients come to this group and we'll fold it in together, which then means that clients are meeting more clients and there's more supports in place. And so I don't know what we would have done with our staffing pattern without telehealth also.
We're the safety net, but we're also kind of the go-to. I was in a meeting yesterday and I was really heartened because there were a lot of stakeholders in there, and they kept turning, they were at a podium, and they kept turning and looking and say, well, we work with Daymark for that. Well, we work with Daymark for that.
They help a lot of people here, a lot, you know. They're the only ones here too, so then if they were gone, where are people gonna go? You're gonna have a lot more issues.
At one time, the network was nothing more than an appliance, but we have moved so far from that, where what was an appliance is now a critical tool for the physician. It is as important as their stethoscope. It's as important as the scalpel for the surgeon.
It's irreplaceable, period. I mean, you couldn't replace something like this.
You can't replace Daymark.
No, you can't replace Daymark.
If we didn't have good connectivity, we would be dead in the water at this point. Yeah, we would not be able to function.
If we did not have the technology in place, or if we had to pay a lot more for that technology or for access, not having the discounts, we would be delivering a lot less health care at a lot greater price.